This is the Bay and Tepe Perspective. I'm Brian Bay.
And I'm Greg Tepe. Welcome to our podcast.
And this week's perspective is on artists that have left us too soon.
Yes, due to the unfortunate news last Friday with the passing of DMX, which I guess the date of that was April 9th, because when this gets published, but it just made me think about all the artists and music that have gone too soon. Granted, DMX is 50 years old, but 50 is young. And the nature of his death, it surprised me that, he's struggled with a lot of demons in his life. And, I just heard that he was slipping and trying to find help again. And he ended up having a heart attack. What I heard was it was due to, drugs or an OD. But I don't want to say that's what definitely it was because I don't know. This is what my initial reports were. His official cause of death that I saw was heart attack.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. I seen that it was a heart attack. But I mean, a heart attack could have also been related to the years of drug use.
Exactly.
I'm sure it wasn't healthy on the heart.
Yeah, it's just wild though. I
heard that he got into it years ago, I guess, but then I didn't.
Yeah.
I guess per se, keep up on it or keep up on him.
I didn't
realize that he was still struggling or anything, until recently, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, I didn't really know. I would hear stuff here and there about what DMX is up to, just in general, not even bad stuff, just in general. But it's I don't really follow him as much. I don't really follow a lot of artists anymore. That's a younger Greg thing. But I pay attention to stuff that pops up, and just hearing someone that I did grow up listening to. He was one of my favorite artists, especially high school age. He had a bunch of number one albums.
Yeah, what was it, 98, 99 to probably 02?
Something, yes. Yeah, that sounds about
02,
right.
03, somewhere in that era was when he was super hot.
Right.
Coming out.
I remember hearing him a lot walking to high school.
Yeah.
The earlier, Rough Riders anthem and that type of music. So he's definitely one that I really liked, and it's just sad to hear.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, though. And so it got me thinking, in general, people that, especially you and I have listened to that have passed away young, no matter what genre of music. I listened to a lot of hip-hop, especially when I was younger. So there's a ton of hip-hop artists, some of our favorite, Tupac.
Yeah, Biggie.
Biggie, yeah, they were murdered, but they're, gone too soon. But even Michael Jackson, the king of pop.
Yeah, drugged or whatever the scenario.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what the official diagnosis was, but yeah, pretty much he got murdered as well, from what I understand, by a doctor.
Yeah, a different type of murder.
Kind of murder. Not on the streets style,
yeah.
But yeah.
And Michael Jackson was actually one of my first favorite artists, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah, he's a legend, man. King of pop, dude. He, classic.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was amazing, watching him growing up because he had so many followers. It was a cult follow. Literally, he couldn't go anywhere without thousands of people swarming him.
Could you imagine if he came up in the age we live in now with social media?
Oh, God, dude, no.
Because, like you said, he had that following pre-social media.
He'd have 1 billion followers.
Yeah.
He would set records for followers.
Yeah.
There's no way he wouldn't.
Yeah, I remember his commercials, and I mean, he would show up in big-time sponsorship type of roles that I don't remember other musicians doing back then. It was usually the beginning of athletes even starting to get into Michael Jordan, the Michaels.
I remember the one classic where I think he was presenting an award with Eddie Murphy. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, but he looked at Eddie and he was like, "Hey, adjust this mic for me." And Eddie he's like, "I almost started doing that." He acts like I'm the help.
Yeah,
he's like, I almost did that. I'm not saying it's funny as Eddie did, but essentially he was like, I almost adjusted it for him. Wait a minute, I'm not your help. Get out of here.
And the funny thing is, you say he's not his help. Eddie Murphy was, especially in the 80s when Michael Jackson, they were the big names.
Yeah, Eddie was like, I'm famous too. Get out of here.
Yeah, which is hilarious. But it's just wild to think, I mean, and Prince or I just thought one, Kurt Cobain from Nirvana, a whole different genre.
Yeah. And they're in the hearts of their career, Pac and Kurt Cobain.
Yeah,
for sure. Not saying Michael Jackson didn't have a lot left, but he had a pretty complete career.
Yeah,
once he's left us, it's
I
still
feel
too
Prince
soon.
did too.
Prince had a pretty complete one as well. And again, still left us too soon. But
yeah,
I mean, Pac still, I feel had another 10 years of being number one
Yeah.
You know, same with Cobain, number one in his category, and
Well, and even on the other side of Pac, Biggie.
or Biggie. Yeah,
Biggie only had 2 albums when he died.
Yeah, he just had a lot going on in them 2 albums.
Yeah, classics. I mean, I used to
Yeah.
be so Team Pac back in the day. When I finally grew out of that and listened to Biggie, his music is definitely classic as well.
Yeah, and actually going old school, Eazy-E was probably the first one I remember.
Oh man, that's
Leaving
a good
us,
one.
yeah.
And that wasn't street violence or drugs; it was HIV.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I didn't realize it. I guess 95 is when he died.
Yeah,
I was for some reason thought it was earlier than that.
me too.
I feel like maybe I thought I was younger, but I feel like I thought I was older. I don't know.
I thought I was younger. So
Yeah.
when I saw that, like when I looked that up, I was like,
That'd have been
95.
like-
That's
yeah.
a year before Pac. Think about it that way. It's a year before Pac.
Yeah, and I feel like he died well before Pac did.
Same here. Like to me, when I look back on my childhood, there's a
Yeah.
bigger gap. When in reality, it's basically a year.
But that was a disease, and I think we all knew that like it was coming.
Yeah.
You know, I think he was down and out for a couple years. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like he was down and out since like 92, 93 or something. You know, like
That's how I remember it.
like he was struggle busing. He just happened to be alive.
And actually, right before he died, if I'm remembering this correctly, is when he found your favorite group, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I think their first album came out as he was basically on his deathbed or close to his deathbed.
Yeah.
And honestly, I learned that because of the Straight Outta Compton movie. I didn't realize what the time frame was. I knew he was a founder of Bone Thugs and Harmony,
Yeah.
but I didn't know like how all the time frame was. Because like I said, the Eazy-E thing felt like it was way like I thought it was like 93 or something. I don't know what I thought.
I did too. I would say 93 is what I thought. You know, but I think that maybe when we found out, my details are not
Blurry.
all there. But
Same.
yeah, I feel like that'd be about the time that we found out maybe. But yeah, I mean, that was like the original death I could think of where I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, at least ones that hit like,
It was
nationally.
my first, I'd say, famous death that kind of hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was young, obviously, still, but like I was old enough to finally realize what death was. And, you know, like for me, that was my first
Yeah.
famous death, you know, like not to go off subject, but like Kobe. That hit me hard.
That one hit me hard.
Yeah, I'm saying not to get in sports like we joked about, but
yeah, here we go.
Yeah, but I mean, like that one hit me hard. Like I think Easy hit me hard a lot because like it was the first one I realized. I was like, oh, this is one like I listened to their music and kind of
Right.
look up to as a kid, and you know, and
And I think that we're at the age too where we realize that death is a real thing. Because you got to think, we also, when like Easy died, we were like 12, 13 years old, and we knew what death was, but death always seems like a far away thing. And then you see someone famous dies, you're like, whoa, they're not even safe from it. Like
no, yeah,
we figured they would grow up to be old and then die.
you
Like,
feel like they have immunity just because they're famous, but,
Right.
You know, it shows that no one has that immunity from death. You can't, you know.
and the fact that Eazy died of a disease, and a disease that used to be portrayed as a homosexual disease.
Yeah,
And so it's like, whoa, what's going on here? Like we were learning so much at that time when Eazy died.
yeah,
Like Magic Johnson just was diagnosed with AIDS a couple years before that. And
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was like third grade or whatever that was. I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Is Magic going to die?
yeah. We got all these, and he had to retire from basketball, and then he made a little comeback, and
Right.
but people were unsure about playing with him or around him or anything. You know, you just didn't know.
Right. So like it was a disease that you weren't even sure about, and then you realize, oh, it's not what people falsely thought it was. Like anyone can get these diseases, and Eazy-E happened to be besides Magic Johnson, to me, the most famous person that had it then, and
Yeah.
he died from it. Where Magic's still alive,
Yeah,
is just wild. And I think like for me, Tupac was probably one more for me because he was shot down.
yeah,
And
Right.
I was a little older at that point. I guess only a year older. We found out.
yeah.
with
But it
Eazy,
felt like I was so much older. Yeah,
right. And I was just like, that is wild. Like that one affected me not as much as Kobe. I mean, not to bring Kobe back up, but that one hit me the most because I'm older now. And Kobe was legit who I idolized as a basketball player myself.
yeah,
I loved Kobe. But anyways, Tupac gave me like a smaller dose of that, but still a dose where I'm like, I love his music, and he's gone now. He's
Yeah.
dead. He got gunned down.
and his music changed the world, man. Like his is legit. If you really listen to his lyrics, Pac's lyrics, man, that's
Yeah.
hard hitting lyrics. It's not just your, you know, I don't know, cars and money and
Right. The bling bling era.
Yeah, the bling bling era, or
whatever it is now.
the new stuff where I don't know what they're talking about, drugs or whatever. Like you know what I'm saying. He talked about where he came from, the streets, the struggle. You know what I'm saying, like just everything. You know what I'm saying.
And what he believes in too. Like one of my favorite Pac songs, "Me Against the World," is just about like sometimes you feel like you can't lean on other people to as a safety net. I guess like it's you determine your path. And things are gonna be unfair, but you just learn how to go against it. Like "Me Against the World" just inspires me, or "Dear Mama" is a classic one.
Oh yeah, that's one of mine that hits me.
Yep, "Changes," even though
"Changes" is oh my god, that's
yeah. I mean, it's good stuff. And so like I loved Pac's music, and so by default I was anti Biggie. And like I said, a few years later, finally I'm like, I'm not on either side.
Yeah, see, I liked Biggie too. I was in that neutral zone.
Yeah, and Biggie's classic too. I mean, he's just his style.
Yeah. So I remember my friend growing up always was more Pac than Biggie, and I kind of by default I think took Biggie's side, but it wasn't one or the other. I liked them both.
Right.
But you almost felt like you had to take a side back then because it was the battle.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, well, what side are you on? I'm like, I'm not really on either, but I guess if I have to choose, I don't know. Like
you would like this story. So actually, I knew Rob Kleemeyer at high school. And we sat at a table, and I found out he liked hip hop as well, which I was like, oh, okay. He was like you're just saying, he went Team Biggie, and I was Team Pac, and we would get into arguments because the other guys at my table, we were all Pac.
Yeah.
And I mean, you got to think in high school, that was only a couple years after. Like we were barely removed from that whole East Coast, West Coast beef.
Yeah.
Where now, like you talking about how Pac's music's still relevant, it's almost 30 years old. Some of it is technically, I guess. I think his first album came out like 91.
Yeah.
That's wild to me because I still bump that stuff.
But I think like Pac's is a timeless, not saying like I still love Biggie's music, but I think at the time I was more immature and didn't realize the depth of Pac's music.
Right.
Whereas some Biggie's was like that, but some Biggie's was that.
Biggie talked a lot about his like life on the streets, and he had a poetic way of doing it as far as like he's a lyricist,
upbeat, especially when like Mace came around.
Yeah, shiny suits.
Yeah, and they just had that more upbeat kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to say upbeat, but you know what I'm saying, like more of a hip hop vibe than a rap vibe.
Yeah, they start transitioning into what hip hop was in the late '90s, the flashy, like the Bad Boys, like the pre-flashy, but being flashy still. So then you got like No Limit, Cash Money, cars, jewelry, like you were saying before.
Yeah. And it's amazing to me that like one of my stepdads was like, he was always, this rap crap isn't going to last.
I remember hearing
Rock and roll's forever, but this isn't going to last. And I'm like, yeah, well, like talk to me again in 20 years. Like it's going to last. It's,
where we're at now, Brian.
Yeah, it's still lasting. And there's just different types of it though. Like, like I'm sure I don't talk to him anymore much, but I'm sure there's rock that he complains about.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm sure he wasn't into like the alternative rock that I listened to growing up, the Green Days or the, Smashing Pumpkins, things like that,
right.
Nirvana, Kurt Cobain, stuff like that. Like, I'm sure he wasn't as into that.
Well,
he's talking about his old 70s, which I have nothing to hate on. I'm just saying he's talking about that era.
I think it's generational, though.
It's just generational.
Like I don't like the new rap as much.
We're like all this dumb mumble rap. But it's like... But it's not like he went after a whole genre of music that kind of was, to him, newer. It'd been around for a while, but...
Yeah, but it started catching popularity.
More mainstream in the 80s and 90s.
Yes, I heard the same stuff, so it must have been like the mantra of like our parents' age.
Yeah, like that rap crap.
Because I've heard rap crap all the time, and I was like, whatever. I play it loud or put my headphones on.
Yeah, it's like no, it's gonna last, and there's different versions of it. Like you have your, like back in the day, it was just all called rap.
Yeah,
there was not really. I didn't hear the term hip hop till I don't know, late high school maybe.
Okay,
maybe somewhere in high school.
Right.
Like it was when I started hearing the term like hip hop. Like to me, maybe it was always a term, but it's when I started hearing the term.
I don't think it was mainstream. I think by the time you heard it, people finally realized, like people that weren't in the hip hop culture, finally realized it's a whole culture where rap is the music part of hip hop culture.
Yes, hip hop's more the culture.
You knew about breakdancing and graffiti.
Yeah, I just never looked at. See, I guess growing up, I never looked at hip hop as the culture. I looked at it as a new type of rap.
Exactly.
I didn't realize it was the culture of hip hop until you explained that greatly. Like I just thought that was just like a newer version of it. To me, hip hop was just more the Cash Money.
Yeah.
To me, that was the hip hop.
The 99 and 2000.
Yeah, and even like Nelly or something, like that type of style of music.
Yeah.
More. fast paced and not as gritty or grimy, I guess you would say.
Yeah, like that old school, like New York
hip
hop.
New York,
I think of,
the gangster rap, or even like the NWA, the Pac. It's more serious. To me, rap was more serious, I guess, and hip hop was more the fun side of it.
I like that explanation.
Yeah.
I can see that as well, because like it's almost like the old school rap was the nitty gritty, the storytelling, almost basic rhymes. Not like I don't mean that in a bad way, but like it was like a hip. Hop, but then you start getting like people start learning how to do different rhymes, and then it turned into the hip hop because we're cool beats. And
but the way you put it as a culture, that's definitely it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just I didn't realize younger that it was different categories of rap already.
Yeah.
Which now that I'm older, there are obviously different categories.
Well, I think it's because everyone was stuck on they're hoping on the rap is crap momentum, but still I'm chuckling inside right now because like, man, I heard that so much. Like,
no, and if you really just wrote down the lyrics and didn't say who it was from, man, like people can't deny some of
poetry,
or, NWA's, like,
Nas,
yeah, there's so many that are just like, that's more than just someone rapping it or singing it or anything.
Let me flip it. Have you ever tried rapping? Like, not you personally, but just in general, like rapping is hard to do.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's not like people always make it seem like it was like just no talent when.
Well, they just thought it was right. They thought it was like basic poetry where it's like the cat in the hat and the bat and everything you just rhymed words. Like, no, you don't just rhyme words. Like, there's more to it.
There's a story with the rhyming.
Yeah, and some of them don't even rhyme. Like, if you really,
Yeah, I mean. One of the, like Eminem, he's good at having words that if you read it on paper don't rhyme, but as he does his flow, they sound the same.
Yeah,
it's weird, but
no. And the more I've looked into like Drake, he also is kind of the same, where he has meanings behind the lyrics that he says.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, that's wild. It's making me respect. I didn't really care for Drake a whole lot when
I'm kind of surprised hearing you say him because I remember that
seeing it on TikTok.
Ah, okay.
There's little clips on TikTok where people are like, he don't miss. And like, there's a whole thing about hashtag he don't miss. And they're talking about Drake.
Yeah.
So he don't miss. And then like you go through it and I'm like, oh.
So you seen
and it's not even, I really listen. Some of the songs I never even listened to.
Yeah.
But some of them I'm like, oh, I get them lyrics. Oh, all right. I respect that. But I just never really, it's not that I didn't give it a chance. I just don't listen to the radio or wherever you get new music at.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Where did you first hear Drake?
Let's see. I think it was from listening to streaming music back when remember the cable stations had where you can stream.
Oh, Music Choice.
Music Choice, yes, because we used to play that in Nick's old apartment when we used to have people over for parties.
So that makes sense because I do miss that because that's Paul growing up always listened to that.
Yep,
and that's where he got a lot of his new stuff. He's like, you gotta listen to this. I'm saying back when we were roommates, and he's like, you gotta come down here, you gotta listen to this. I'm like, okay.
That's how I found new music, and it happened at that time. I wasn't looking for new music to make mixtapes like I used to do.
Yeah,
but it was just more like kind of what you're saying too. It was like it was a good party music, and it was easy because back then, especially everyone had cable, so we would pop it on, and I'd catch new stuff, and I'd pay attention because you can see the picture, like oh, this is Drake or this is J. Cole. J. Cole's probably my favorite new time artist.
Yeah,
he reminds me of the old time people, but he's a new artist.
Yeah.
I remember seeing J. Cole's earliest stuff on there. I'm like, okay. So, yeah, that's when I first heard Drake. And then he had that Forever remix song that featured Lil Wayne, Kanye West, and Eminem all in their primes, basically.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay.
I mean, featuring is a big way to get your name out there for sure.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, that's.
Right. Yeah, not to go too much in the left field, but I thought I'd throw that question out there. I mean, other highlighted ones that I can see, Nate Dogg, man, that dude. I
remember hearing that. I was like, I didn't even know I guess he was sick, and then that's what caused the strokes.
Yeah.
Even to this day, it's still kind of gray to me, but like you said, that dude.
See, I don't keep up with artists or even famous people in their personal lives as much, so I'm never in that.
Right.
I'm not in the loop a lot of times. Like, I might hear that social media helps when someone's sick or someone's, but usually by the time you even hear that, it's towards the end.
Yeah.
They're like, they're sick, they have 3 days. It's like, oh. Okay,
yeah, I usually hear when they're dead. I mean, not to be
or when they're
morbid,
dying,
but.
Yeah. Like, even the DMX thing popped up, and I was like, oh, he's in the hospital?
Yes.
And then within days, he was.
Deceased.
So it was like, oh, man.
Yeah, I'm a lot like you. I don't follow up with them, but social media is what kind of like, oh, DMX, like you said, is in the hospital, or I remember hearing about Nate Dogg. I believe it was also social media. I'm like, oh wow, that's crazy. It's not like the old days where you listen to the radio and you hear maybe them cut in like. I feel like even Michael Jackson I heard via like a update on my phone, like one of those news updates I used to have back then.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jackson passed away, and blah blah blah. I'm like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
But then like most of the, especially the hip hop artists as of late, for me, a lot of it's been social media. Like hearing about Prodigy from Mobb Deep, talking about more old music. Granted, he made it into. Let's see. He was 2017, so he didn't get killed or anything. I remember hearing he had sickle cell just from Jay-Z's disses, even back when they were beefing, and that's what he passed away from. I'm like, Prodigy. 'Cause I like Mobb Deep a lot too.
Yeah.
And that's another one you and I grew up on, or like for me and you, Old Dirty Bastard from the Wu-Tang.
Oh yeah, ODB.
Yeah, I remember hearing about him passing away because that was actually shortly before my birthday. And I'm like,
what year was that?
That was back in 2004.
Oh wow, yeah.
Which I felt like he died earlier than that too for some reason. But
I think time just get away from us on that.
I do too. And the Wu-Tang, I always associate Wu-Tang with 90s.
Yeah.
It's just, I think my brain's tricking me like, oh, he had to die like 99 or something.
They were a timeless group also.
Man.
I mean, they go 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
Oh yeah. Basically, I can't wait to have our hip hop episode. I'm talking about just some of that in general, but Wu-Tang is another one.
I'd like to get a guest for that episode.
Yeah.
One of the new ones, Mac Miller, I know hit a lot of the Andy's age people.
Yeah, which is ironic because I'm a lot older than Andy, and he's one of my favorite new artists as well.
Is he? See, I don't know that I ever listened to him a whole lot.
Yeah, it's hard. It's kind of hard to explain his style because, as before, you're talking about there's different styles of hip hop. He's like a new age, but he's not mumble. He has lyrics.
Yeah. From what I understand, I mean, this generation, the younger generation, seemed to love him as much as we loved Pac.
It seems that way. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Because that's the vibe I got from them. People are like, oh, man. Like, the looks on their faces were the looks on our faces when Pac died.
Yeah, because when I heard when he died, basically seeing what you saw is when I realized that everyone liked Mac Miller. I thought I was like one of the ones that knew him because I started digging more into the hip-hop culture. And I'm like, trying to find new music here and there. And I remember listening to his mixtapes via YouTube way back in my job. And then I found out that, like you said, like people of Andy's generation or whatever, the younger generation viewed his death like Pac's death. Like, oh man, this legend's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like, and I need to get back into some of the new music. I need to investigate a little more. I just get so stuck in my rotation of what I have always listened to, almost like the parents do. And your parents, oh no, I don't listen to any of this new stuff. This is why I listen to. It's like, but I want to appreciate the new stuff too. Like as much as I can. And there are some new ones that I hear that I'm like, oh, that's got a good beat, or
there is some good. I mean, there are, like I said, like J. Cole, Mac Miller, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah,
there's a lot of new ones I like,
and there's some I can't remember their names. I know they're more probably one-hit wonder type guys, but I hear their song, I'm like, who's that? I'm like, oh, it's got a good beat, like, because I'm into like beats too, I'll get caught up in I'll get caught up in a good chorus sometimes.
Yeah,
like it just depends what mood I'm in. Sometimes I want to be in depth and get sucked into the lyrics.
Yeah,
and really, have the stuff you got like a story that you got to listen to.
Yes, like Nas,
almost like a movie of a song, where you really get into it. But then there's other ones where I'm like, I don't mind just. Bling bling.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I love bling bling.
Yeah, like I also like the hype up stuff too. Don't know, you know what I'm saying? It's,
or country grammar.
Yeah,
Valley.
Ones that might have like one or two verses and it's mainly just the chorus over and over again, or
something simple, or whatever. Basically,
something simple but upbeat and hype songs type thing.
Right. Which is funny you said that because I fall in the same trap where I mean, 99% of the music I listen to is the old stuff, and then even just. Recently, with the unfortunate death of DMX, I've been listening to DMX the past week. I put together a playlist of my favorite DMX songs on Apple Music and just listen to that.
Oh yeah, no, like, and I've noticed just coming up on my like I have Amazon Music and it just pops up.
Yeah,
like I hit like 90s radio or 2000s radio or whatever, and then like. He'll pop up a lot more often. I'm like, oh, he must be trending, if you will.
Yeah.
It's almost like if it's trending, it tends to pop up more and more and more and more.
Which is kind of sad that happens with any artist, that after they die, it's almost like they become more popular.
Yeah, no, it's sad that has to happen, but or for us to remember them again,
Right.
and listen to him, because I always liked his music. I just didn't always go back to it.
Yeah, that's me too. Like I said, I like DMX. He wasn't in my heavy rotation, because as I get older, I kind of get more selective of like who I want to listen to, and I just beat a dead horse. I just keep listening to the same stuff.
Oh yeah, and I listen to different genres too. So for me, it'll be like, am I into rock, or am I into country right now, or am I into old school rhythm and blues or something? Like
believe it or not, even good old hip hop Greg is the same way now. Like I like the classic rock sometimes, or even the old '90s alternative rock.
Yeah, I was always into that big time.
Yeah,
I went through a spurt where I was just 90s alternative for a long time. I still had my hip hop with me though.
Yes, that's how.
But I was just like got super into like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Green Day.
I think it was like you, except not as much, because I had my random Green Day CDs. I had my random I always liked Nirvana. That just always hit me.
Boyz II Men was one of my big ones.
Right.
And I forget his name, but one of them passed.
Yeah, you're right. I can't remember which one. But
the bass, the deep voice guy.
Yep. I remember hearing about that.
I can't remember all their names, and I should have, because they were like my favorite group growing up, but
we're old.
Yeah. I'm old and forgetful.
Yeah. But I listen to classic rock more than I used to. And speaking of classic rock, someone like Jimi Hendrix.
Oh yeah.
He passed away too young.
Oh yeah, a lot of the rock guys did. I mean, a lot of times it was drugs related, but yeah, and like Bob Marley was such a peacemaker.
Yeah.
What did he die from? Do you remember? I can't remember.
Sadly, I don't remember either.
But he was a classic.
I just knew he was I knew he was passed away, and I liked his music. It's like one of those things where by the time I started really getting into his music, that's when I realized, oh, this guy, he's no longer alive. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I wasn't really that big into music when I was a kid. And then when I started getting big into music, it was like primarily hip hop with my 5 to 10% of the 90s alternative with the Nirvana and Green Day. But I've always heard Marley's music. I just never knew a whole lot about Marley.
It looks like I looked it up. It says melanoma.
Okay.
Is ultimately what got him. Yeah, because it's spread throughout his body at some point.
So cancer.
Yeah. That's what it's saying here.
Yeah, I really didn't know. Or if I did, I didn't remember.
It says it started under the nail of the toe.
Dang, that's not scary, is it?
Yeah.
I don't even want to look at my toenails.
Yeah, I know. But no, I mean, he was a legend. He was a legend. His music is timeless and meaningful.
I love listening to his music, especially now I'm older, and I appreciate more genres better.
Yeah, I like to listen to some of his interviews too.
Right.
I go through on YouTube and just listen to some of his interviews, because he's always he's kind of good at the debate. They'll ask him some kind of silly question, and he turns it into another way. He turns it intelligent.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, why are you asking me that? Why didn't you,
He's like, you're not going to get me. I won't answer it.
Nope, this is, this is the way I'm answering it. So, but no, another legend. Trying to think who else. Even if you go to Lisa Left Eye Lopes.
Yes.
You know saying?
TLC. I had a crush on her way back in the day. Don't go chasing waterfalls, her rap verse.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, or Aaliyah.
Oh, Aaliyah, I forgot about her.
I had a huge crush on her.
In the prime of her career.
Yes.
The prime of her career. I can't remember what she passed from either.
Aaliyah was a plane crash.
Yes.
So I remember hearing about it, and I'm like, Aaliyah? Which ironically, DMX did that tribute video to her.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot about that until DMX passed away.
One thing I didn't realize about DMX is how religious he was of a guy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, until recently.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, I didn't know he was into religion, if you will, into Christianity and whatnot.
Yeah, I found a song of his, actually, because I've been listening to so much of him, that, real deep about being, basically a broken man, but putting your trust in God. And, remember how he had, songs that he would, a lot of them were the Damien songs he would do, where he raps his normal voice, and then he kind of changes his voice, so it's supposed to be, a demon or the devil.
Yeah.
He had one like that, but it's, instead it was God rapping back to him. And yo, I told you to do this, and you decided to be, not that say like you weren't hard head, or you were hard headed, but you were punished because you decided not to listen. Not that God punished me, but he's like, I decided to not listen to you, basically, God, and I want to try it my way. And then I'm coming back to you like, yo, this stuff, like, it's a deep song because he's like, I learned the hard way, basically, by not putting my trust in you. And like you said, like, I forgot until he passed away, and then what you just said, that he almost had a prayer. I think he had a prayer on every single album he had. Like, it would be like a skit when skits were a big thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, DMX is a real dude. Another one I thought of, like, not hip-hop related, when we're talking about, like, Hendrix and Marley, was John Lennon.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Beatles.
Yeah. That hit people hard, too.
Yeah. Yeah, people were, I mean, remember when we saw the memorial in New York?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge thing.
It's amazing how they were worldwide. Like, they start, obviously, British.
Yeah.
And then come to the States. And they become international stars.
They didn't become international until they came to the States, right? Am I remembering that correctly? Like,
I think they had a tour in the States or something like that made them...
like, huge.
Huge, yeah.
Or another Elvis Presley.
Oh, Elvis, yeah.
I can't believe I just thought about him, but, like...
Yeah, I was never so into his music. Some of the stuff's okay.
Yeah, I'm same as you.
You know, a few of the songs I can dig, but I was never super into it. But definitely a legend. A lot of people loved him.
I mean, you got impersonators all over, for crying out loud.
Oh, yeah. He definitely got a huge following, so...
Yeah.
There's always the myths of him and Tupac living on an island together, and they're not dead yet.
Right.
You know?
Just hiding, they had to get away from all the people.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know of any, like, country people that passed away too soon? I'm not big on the country genre, so...
I'm sure there are some. Nothing I can think of off the top of my head, though.
Okay. Nothing that rings a bell.
Yeah, nothing that, like, from my era, at least, that I can think of. You know, all the 90s ones that I knew of are still alive, as far as, you know.
That's good.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
But no, I'm sure there were some. I just can't think of any.
Yeah, I almost feel like there's one... And this is funny because I don't know anything about country music, but I feel like there might have been one that died in some sort of accident. Like, for some reason, the airplane accident sticks out in my head. Like, old-timey...
Old-timey one, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, even, like, preparing for this episode, when I was looking at in the hip-hop genre, there's so many artists that I listen to myself that are no longer here. Like, even Adam, I can't say his last name. I don't know, or I know it's Gok or Yauch from the Beastie Boys fame.
Oh, yeah.
Beastie Boys were my gateway into hip-hop music. And then I remember hearing that he had cancer and he died from the cancer.
Yeah. And then you have, like, Big Pun. I mean, I didn't know he was, like, 698 pounds.
Like
nearly 700 pounds. I knew he was always a big dude, but...
Right, but I was thinking, like, what, 400, 450?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Immobile at 700 pounds.
Yeah.
You know?
I was like, I couldn't believe when I saw that.
And naturally, that was a heart attack. I mean...
Yeah, that part didn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But then you get another icon like Jam Master Jay that was gunned down.
Yeah.
That's wild to me because he didn't seem like he was ever putting himself into situations to be gunned down. Like, he's not known to be a, big mouth, but I found out like he was mentoring a lot of rough guys, trying to get them out of the rough life.
Yeah.
And into music or something. And I believe he was a situation where he was wrong place, wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
Which... It's unfortunate, obviously.
No, and when you're trying to get people out of rough life, sometimes the people trying to keep them in the rough life don't care for that.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that's the case, but like.
But in general,
yeah,
you're right. Where they're like, I don't care, or I don't want that for.
Yeah, we don't want you cleaning up our neighborhood. We want it to be the same because we're running the neighborhood. If you
right, kind of like the Nipsey Hussle. He's a newer artist. Was gunned down in front of his own shop in L.A.
Yeah,
in broad daylight, just gunned down. Which is wild. Like, it's just crazy. Like,
yeah, just so many that just.
So a lot of people, I can make a playlist, a huge playlist of artists I like, and they're all dead.
Oh, yeah.
Which is wild to me. Pimp C from UGK. Another one that's passed away too soon, and unfortunately drug related with the syrup they drink in the South, especially. The overdose.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of them seem to be natural causes.
Right.
I mean, a couple hearts I see here on the list. Drug overdoses.
Yeah, there's a lot. I noticed there's a lot of overdoses. I think overdoses probably wins.
Craig Mack has heart failure. I don't know if that was a more of a natural heart failure, or I don't think he was a drugs.
Yeah, I honestly don't know much about him except for like the one or two songs he had when he was with Bad Boy.
Yeah.
I can hear the beat in my head, and I want to spare our viewer or listeners. I'm not gonna try to do it, but yeah, that's wild. But like, yeah, looking over it, a lot of it's drug overdose. There's unfortunately a lot of ones that are shot.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, rest in peace to them all, though.
Yeah, at least they leave their legacy of their music. As far as like they'll live on through their music. All these artists.
Yes, they will. So, any more that you want to touch on, or
not that I can think off the top of my head. I know I came hard with the hip hop side, but I just a lot of icons: Michael Jackson, Prince, Elvis, Hendrix, Marley. I mean, there's Tupac. It seems like the biggest names in the genres.
I'm sure we missed a ton of rock and roll ones that we could.
Oh yeah,
but
that's probably a whole nother episode.
Yeah, it's a whole nother episode. Drug overdoses and things of that nature.
The wild lifestyle.
But I just want to say, rest in peace to them all.
Yep, rest in peace to them all. The last one, rest in peace to DMX, most recent one. And let's hope that we don't add any more to the list for a long, long time.
Yep. All right, about wrap it up.
Yeah, are we done?
I think we're done here.
All right, let's wrap it.
All right.